Book Swap Cebu Podcast. Loving literature in the modern world.
Hi guys, welcome to Book Swap Cebu Podcast, and we are here in this very beautiful place we call Life Coffee Shop. This is located in Gaisano Country Mall, Cebu. Hi guys.
Hi, yes, Chappy, it's been quite some time, but hello, swappers. My name is Zax, and I'm one of the members of Book Swap Cebu, and with me are the members of Book Swap Cebu with our guest.
I'm also a member of Books.
He's a member now. Okay.
All right.
Okay, we'll tell more about our guest. Go January. Yeah, say hi.
Hi.
Okay.
Introduce yourselves.
All right.
All right, so I have a book. Well, we all have our assignments. We have the books that we have been currently reading, and I think Mariam would have to start because you're nearest to the camera.
So I'm appointed to be the first one. Well, for me, I've read this book, I think, last year or 2 years ago. It was given by the owner of where I'm working right now. He's a pastor. Then he gave us this, The Way of the Shepherd, because I'm a teacher. So who are my sheep's tendency? That will be the children, of course. And it helps you look at the children or whoever it is that you are gathering, and then see them for who they are, not what you want them to be. And then this one thing that I love so much, it says here, you have to always know the condition of your flock. I thought as I tried to shake the sleep out of my head. Get to know your flock, one sheep at a time. Engage your people and follow through. So you really have to know them, their experiences, the attitude, the personality, and everything that goes along. So I think this book is really beautiful because it makes you realize that the world is really about relationships, how you look at the people, and how you build that relationship with them. So this is for everyone.
And the author of the book is?
The author of the book, his name is Dr. Kevin Lemon and William Pentak. Yes.
I think I've seen a copy of that book at OMF Lit. Yeah. So they can get copies of that book there. All right, Dax. Zax earlier was reading.
Oh, okay. So it's I own these two books. This is a Christmas gift from a dear friend because, well, yes, so ghost written poems. So it's a poetry book. So with poetry books, you don't read them all in one sitting. So this is just in my bag. So whenever I'm bored, I grab some. I read something from this. So, what I'm currently rereading is "Steal Like an Artist" by Austin Kleon. So it's more on where or how to utilize your ideas, and it breaks the myth about creative geniuses. So it means that everybody can be a genius. They just have to understand and know how to become one, or how to really do it. So where do you get your ideas? Basically, it's under the premise that all innovation came from the developments that came before. So you have to find a way how to make it yours. So that's why it's Steal Like an Artist. He was quoting a line here from Picasso, where bad artists copy, great artists steal. So something like that. So it makes you, okay, what's the difference between copying and stealing? So more like copying, you copy everything, and when you steal, you get the idea and make it yours. So that's how. And basically nothing is original. So don't be worried.
There's nothing new under the sun.
Nothing new under the sun. So that's what I'm currently reading if I'm out of ideas and I'm trying to be creative. Okay, now, January, would you like to?
All right. So this week I've been reading a book called Battlefield of the Mind, Winning the Battle in Your Mind by Joyce Meyer. I'm sure a lot of our well-read audience will be very familiar with her. She's a well-published, she's a bestseller author. One thing that I'd like to really read out loud is that you cannot have a positive life and a negative mind. Our thoughts are going to affect what we become. If we think negative thoughts, then it will be difficult for us to live a renewed life or to have a renewed thinking, which is very vital to having a successful life. So, no matter how bad the condition of your life and your mind, don't give up. If necessary, regain your mind 1 inch at a time, always leaning on grace and not on your own ability to get the desired results.
So you got that book, you got that copy from this
From
shop.
yes, yeah.
Awesome.
And I've been reading through it for the whole week. It's very exciting and it's also very meaty. Something that I think that we can really, just use throughout the week.
Right. Thank you, Ms. J.
So
Dave.
yeah, so mine is I'm a digital guy. I I can't afford books. I'm kidding.
You can afford to steal books.
Sorry, authors. But I am reading now Pitch Anything by Oren Claff. So I've been invited to silent. I've been invited to speak to one of local organizations here in Cebu, in Batayan, and they want me to talk about how to pitch. So I'm trying to read this short.
Homework.
Yes, you should do your homework every time you're invited to speak. So I'm reading this to get some insights, and I'm getting wonderful ideas here, like this one. As it turns out, pitching is one of those business skills that depends heavily on the method you use and not how hard you try. So take note. All right, so that's it for me.
Yeah.
Back to our.
For me, I am reading 2 books. Well, actually, I'm reading a lot of books, but I think these 2 pair well together. I have Prayer, Asking and Receiving, and this is a very ancient. This is an ancient book of antiquity. This was owned by my grandfather, who was a priest of Aglipay. Anyway,
Wow.
so I have it with me, and I
signature?
think his no,
Amazing.
it's just his
No, the
Handwritten.
first page.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
This is the signature of the author.
wow.
Amazing.
Who is
Beautiful.
what's his name? Yeah, John Rice. And I'm also reading The Tongue, A Creative Force. And I think what I've learned from these 2 things is that prayer is very much an affirmation of what you say.
Right.
So there's also the power of the tongue. If you claim this to happen in your life, then it will happen. You really have to believe in it. So January is saying about thoughts having an impact in your life. I think words also have a greater impact in your life because they can, as January and January and I were talking earlier, what is bound on earth will be bound in heaven, and what is loosened on earth will be loosened in heaven. And I think you just have to have that consciousness that the words that come out of your mouth will not just, you can't say may or may not because they really have an impact. You really don't realize that, but they have an impact. And words can also bring healing to you in as much as words can also bring destruction or bad health or illness to you. So you really have to be careful. You really have to be conscious on that regard, because if you believe that what the words that are coming from your mouth are also from God, then there's no stopping. There's no energy stopping that. But you also have to be conscious, and you also have to pray that what you're speaking is also revealed to you by God in your readings. There. So prayer, asking and receiving by
Yeah.
John Rice, and the
Can
tongue,
I-
a
can I
creative
add,
force
Chappie?
from Charles Capps. Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause I was
Surely.
really, I really like. But you see, in the Christian and Hebrew in the Judaic and Christian tradition, they said that the universe is created through words.
It's true.
Yeah,
It's true.
not Hindu, but Judaism. The many of the rabbis believe that everything in this world is actually created, is made up of alphabets of the Hebrew alphabet. And it's very interesting that like we Dave and I talk about this plugging yesterday. Was it the other day? Yeah, we talk about this, how powerful it is. One is that one is we are if we believe the Christian and Judaic tradition, we all came from the word, and we have the ability to create through words. There's a really interesting scripture that says, "Life and death is in the power of the tongue, and he who loves them will eat its fruit." Wow. So
Depends on what
very interesting scripture. Yeah.
Thank you for that. And
Maybe I
yes,
just
Matt.
like to add, for Hinduism, it's not words, but the universe was inside the mouth.
Wow.
That's what they said. So parang the similar
Interesting.
inside the mouth, Hinduism. The universe is the child was when he opened his mouth, the universe is in there.
Nice.
That's why they have
Hinduism.
a belief about us being the universe. Something like that. Possibly.
Yeah.
All right.
Interesting.
Nice.
Yeah.
That was like one of your questions, or let's just invite.
Yes.
Yeah.
and
So if there were if you still have questions about the books that we are reading, just send us a message on Facebook or just comment on this podcast, and then we'll really share.
So
the
you're
titles of
reading
the
3
that
books
we-
or 2 books?
I'm reading actually
5.
so many
He's-
books.
At the same
oh
time?
my
She's
gosh.
she's a good multitasker.
Wow.
She can
But I'm
compartmentalize her
almost
brain.
done with this. Yeah, and I'm almost done with
Yeah.
actually
Nice.
How about you, Joseph? What are you reading?
I actually brought this book because I will recommend them later.
Okay, all right. That's for
in terms
later.
of reading, I've been reading. I don't know if you know Brendan Manning. No.
Haven't yet.
He's a priest. He wrote a book called the Ragamuffin Gospel, but I didn't read that. I'm reading The Furious Longing of God. Basically, he's talking about a radical belief that God loves you more than you know.
Yeah.
So it's
okay.
it's not just love like what we're like when we tell other people. It's a furious longing. It is as if it is so painful for him not to see you. So and to meet you and to it's like this. It is, and then this is in the middle of your mistake, huh? It's not like he's loving you because you're doing it right and rejecting you if you're doing things wrong. So he's talking about this, and if you know Brennan Rang, he passed away a few years ago, but he's one of the kind of the radical movement when it comes to discovering, because he's a recovering alcoholic, and so he's a priest at the same time. But really interesting, he loves the, do you know Alcoholics Anonymous? Yeah. So he runs. I forget if he runs or is always part of that. And he said that when your weakness is being put into the light, it loses its power. So that's why AA is working, because they actually admit their mistake if they've drunk
okay.
something, they beat their wife, etc., and it loses their power over time, because weakness such as like depression, self-doubt, everything, if you hide them, it grows inside of you. So if you put them into the light, it loses its power.
Oh, okay. Wow, I love that.
All
All
right,
right.
thank you. We'll get back to you after this short break. Thank you for the sharing, everyone. A good friend of mine, Hendrigo, and he's known in Cebu for being the instigator of Cebu Lit Fest, once rebuked me because once he saw my shelf, it was, I have a shelf containing 500 books, and he noticed that there are no local books or local authors in that shelf. So since then, I've been amping up on my efforts in getting to know some local authors. What I have here are books that I have purchased from local authors. And what Book Swap Cebu has been doing for the past 6 months is inviting itself to book launches of local authors. So what we would like to encourage you is, if you are a young author, just continue writing. If you believe that your work is publishable, then go to a publishing firm or get yourself published, in other words. I have here a copy of where is it? I have in this list, it's not here. I have it as pile. It's a book written by USC poets. And we just really love the effort and the courage of these writers to go out and publish their own books. And so if you have a book that you want to publish, or if you already have published and you just want to launch your books, please do invite Book Swap Cebu, because we will be there to support you in your endeavor. And just drop a hi and just say hi to us, and we will be there with your invitation. We're back after that short break. All right. So we're missing somebody. She just had to go. But we are welcoming our doors for our very first, it's not our very first guest of this video podcast that we have.
Hi. Okay.
Joseph
For
Libero.
this video
For the
podcast.
video podcast. Hi guys. Hi, Book Swap Cebu.
Hi.
I'm so excited to be here.
Okay. All right. So
Shall I
our
start
guest is a fellow Toastmaster. He is a father to. Yes, this is how he wants to be introduced. He's a wonderful father to 2 kids.
Amazing father.
And he believes he's so lucky
Yes, I am.
to marry his wife. Is that the right? Is that the right?
Yes.
He's a proud
Hi,
father.
Joyce.
And yes, he's a lucky person. That's what
Yes.
he would believe.
Yeah, he also hosts his own podcast,
Podcast.
which is The Big Picture with.
Dave.
And he does video logs over Facebook recently.
Yes.
Very interesting content there.
Okay.
So we decided to have this guy because he is so interesting to talk to. He has a lot of books that he has before him, and he will share with us some of the books that he really likes. And he will, of course, recommend these books to us. And Joseph has been a reader for how many years already?
You know, I started when I was still in high school. One of my teachers said that if you read, you can travel anywhere.
Do you remember the name of your teacher?
I forgot. And I was I don't know if
From
it
which
was like
school was
Mrs.
this?
Villapis or something. She said if you read, you can travel anywhere. And that was something that's exciting to me. I said if I read, I can go to outer space or So I started reading. I have to say I hated every moment of it. But then after I finish a book, I don't know if you have that same feeling. There's that sense of, fulfillment, and a sense of, there's that feeling that your mind is being expanded. And so, to me, I'm not really a reader, but I read a lot of books. I'm not a reader because some people really love to read, but for me, it's more of a workout. It's like
A mental workout.
a mental workout that after you get a dopamine overload and your mind gets stronger. So yeah. Did I commit a heretical by saying I'm not a reader? No.
No.
Did I?
Okay,
No.
we're-
Let me clarify that. I read a lot of books. I think I read maybe at least 2 books in a month or something.
Wow, it's an achievement.
Yeah. So
What's your
I'm a
favorite
reader, but more of
So what's the first book that actually made you love reading or made you realize the importance of reading?
the first one was a book by Michael Crichton, Eaters of the Dead.
The Jurassic
And then
Park.
I read the other Michael Crichton books, Jurassic Park. I think is there a Terminal Man or something with I forgot.
I only read one book of his, which was The Sun Also Rises.
I didn't
That
read
was
that.
a really good
Yeah.
book. Crichton, yeah.
I think
Michael Crichton.
I've seen one here. Maybe.
And then I really realized the importance of book reading when I read a book about self-development. The other one is about how to flirt with women, which is this is you're really
So
excited
I
about
think
this.
that explains why.
Can you show it to us?
I honestly forgot the
What
title.
was your
Bradley
key
needs
takeaway from
lessons.
that book?
Okay,
Go on.
So women, women, a lot of women are actually they like being touched. So you can measure your intimacy with the level of touch. You don't like this because you're a person
you-
who
No,
works
do you agree with me?
I'm being skeptical. I'm being
I'm gonna give you an
skeptical.
example.
Languages.
I'm gonna give you an example. Like for example, January. Come here.
I'm being skeptical.
No. I'm telling you. Like if you have a very close friend, you have a barrier, right? A barrier usually like when if you're new, it's like this. But then later on, it's comfortable getting closer. And then
Once you break
according
that
to that
barrier.
book, there's a breakdown called siko to siko.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
once your elbows are already rubbing, that's why you rub elbows, right? That's a point wherein there's a level you broken through that intimacy already.
Ah, interesting.
So-
Rubbing elbows is actually
Yeah.
it's getting
Oh my
closer.
goodness.
Yes. So that's the reason. So when I was still single and
I learned something.
not married,
So the goal
Doesn't work with
apparently
women.
is to rub elbows.
I mean, women
the
to
goal
men.
is to get to the point where you are the other person is comfortable rubbing elbows with you. The goal is to get there. Like if you like, that's why it's there's so much malice when you touch a woman, right? If you touch them like anywhere, right, without permission. But once you get closer, and then you're it's comfortable already, and then you're rubbing elbows already.
Literally.
Now you can transition to the deeper stuff.
I'm wondering what the name of this podcast episode.
Afraid to
I thought we're
ask
past the February.
what the deeper stuff is.
Okay.
I
Just getting
learned
to know the person
something.
more. Huh?
You learn when you read, and this is one of the things that you've learned
No,
reading
when I
that
was
book.
in high school, this comes really handy, right? I mean, you're single,
Right,
you're
right.
single.
20 years ago, right?
Easily.
That's true.
Maybe you need it. I
but-
think it's
I
very
think he
timely.
needs
Now,
to
You
now,
ne- you
think about
badly
this.
need one.
If you're a young person and someone wants you to read, and then you came across of a book that will teach you how to flirt with a woman, and that's exactly what you need, and it gives you the output right away. Would that not encourage you how to read?
We should make this
know the output.
PG-18 episode.
Okay, in behalf of our female readers, I think the next question is: was there a partner book, How to Flirt with Men?
I don't think
No, I don't know. I haven't. Well, they said it's that book is actually it's more of for men to from men to women, but I think the opposite can be true also.
Yeah, because you get to also understand how they think
Yeah.
and how their minds work.
Yes.
So I think it's also useful for women, ladies, to read, to get a copy of that book.
But
and
I forgot
also
the
learn.
Yeah, so I would know if
I
I'm
just
being
remember
fooled.
the lessons.
I'm so sorry. Flirted, by the way.
yes, yeah. If a guy wants to get close with you, there are certain like to me, like now, if I look at a guy and a girl walking together, I know the level of comfort. I can really tell the level. It's more of not scientifically proven, but I know like they've been together, or they just
Already elbow to elbow.
yeah, they're already in that level already. Because you can see.
Take it from the guy who's
I think we
into
need-
self-help
I
books.
hope by sharing you this, I already paid my worth for being a guest. On
Yeah,
this
that
podcast.
exactly changes how.
Take control, please.
I think we need time to
The very
pause.
first few books that we read is very religious, and I also read a religious book.
I think we need to cogitate on this aspect and just pause on it and and digest it in our minds.
No, this is.
Well, I think there's also a similar
Yeah, that was
book to
it.
that, Art of Seduction.
The Art of Seduction is by Robert Greene.
Robert
right?
Greene.
Yeah, I think I haven't
Have you
really
read it?
touched on it. But if you're into the relationship books, there's men are from Mars and women are from Venus.
Yeah.
I've read it. Interesting. I think there's like some truth to it. Yeah, and then. But this one is more of the physical aspect of the relationship. There's also a good one by The Game by.
Yeah, I've heard about it, the game.
You haven't read it?
It's the pickup.
It's funny. It's so funny.
I've read
It's so
it.
funny.
I don't want to be obvious, like.
Your neighbor read it for you. Then they get shared.
You know what?
What's the guy
You're giving it. You're giving it away. You're giving your.
Because it's an intimidating scene.
But
is.
you see, it's yeah. To me, by the end of the day, it's good to read those just for starter, just to start off the relationship. But once you're in a serious relationship, everything is really experiential. I mean, you don't. There's no such thing as look. Oh, I've read this in this book.
There's no
Men Are from Mars
handbook.
and Men From Mars. There's no handbook for relationship. I don't know. That's my feeling. But to get through point A to point B, and when you reach point B, that's like something more of an. You need to experience it. From point A to point B, there's a lot of guidebooks around.
Okay, wow. Take it from the guy who's into self-help.
Yes.
All right, then speaking.
relationships to taking your careers off to a different level.
Yes, yes.
No, the thing about self-help, guys, is this. It is self-help. It doesn't have to be business-oriented, career-oriented. It's like
So many aspects, right?
Yeah, so many
Like
aspects.
there's like meditation, self-help to meditation, self-help to peace of mind, etc.,
Even
etc.
religion,
Business,
Even religion,
to
right?
spirituality,
Spirituality.
to health,
And
to
sex.
yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, you said everything.
is it-
Right. And speaking of everything, we'll just have to narrow down to the
To the books that he has on his.
No,
Yeah, we have to.
I'm not gonna. I'm just saying that there's a broad spectrum of
Exactly. I really
And
believe
then
you.
you mentioned earlier that if you would talk about it, would be here all day. And then
Yes.
Dave only has how many minutes? All right, so okay, yes,
Is it interesting?
Pile of books,
Pile
yeah.
of books
yeah,
there,
it is.
and
It
we'll
is.
go through them one by one. Why not?
Yes.
Right now?
Right, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if I were to pick one, the first one I would introduce you guys is a book by Brian Tracy called Goals. And the reason why I want to share this to you is because
What's the subtitle?
goals
How to
how to
get
get everything you want faster than
Faster than
Ever
you ever
thought
thought
possible.
possible.
Ever thought possible?
Yeah, so the reason why I would like to share this book and recommend this book is that a lot of Filipinos doesn't have goals. And so I don't know if it's
Don't generalize.
global.
There are a lot of people who don't
I
have
think it's
goals.
global. Yeah, but a lot of people doesn't really think about their goal in life. They just want to
Yeah.
float with whatever happens.
Aimlessly.
Maybe not to have a goal is a goal in itself.
I still remember someone told me my goal is to have a goal.
Oh,
Okay, so I was stuck there. And
So
then
Brian Tracy, where can we get a copy of that book?
I got this from India, but I don't know if it's available. It should be available here in National Bookstore or the other one, Fully Booked.
okay.
The Magic of Thinking Big. The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz. It's almost the same as the goals,
Okay.
but really it's more of expanding what you think is big enough. You have to really, because once someone said that our main problem is that our problem is we're solving very small problems. Our problems are not big enough.
Small for us, something like that.
Yeah, our problem is that we don't have enough big problems to solve. I mean, it's not we don't have enough. We don't solve big problems. So because we're stuck with
Really small problems.
yes, because we're stuck with solving really small stuff, we don't really go into the big things. If we're busy enough to go into the big things, then we will be able to.
Is it
like-
because they're afraid? People are afraid to risk.
Yes, that's true. That's true. That's true. And yeah, you like to say
I'd
something?
like to add something though.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's actually I believe in that as well because when you consider the small stuff like really small fry, like the bills, whatever, you consider for some people they consider a huge problem, but
That's true.
once I start thinking big, like I
Yeah.
don't really mind the bills already. You solve it easily.
Yeah.
So
Bills, can you pay
Can you take mine so that I can, focus my mind to bigger stuff? Because apparently it's a big.
So the
Go
next
back.
one is you're probably familiar of this this guy, John Maxwell,
Yeah.
developing the leader within you. And I read this book back in college,
Nice.
and it's one of the his series on leadership. His series on leadership encouraged me to study leadership really deeper because I realized that it's not just a matter of position and title. It is a matter of character. If you want to
Character and integrity, if I might add.
yes, character and integrity. If you want the position and the title might put you in the leadership spot, but what will maintain you there is your what's inside of you. You know, the brick and mortar stuff that's inside of you.
Yes.
And so this is our good stuff to
And
to
I also
study.
like to add, because a lot of people think that leaders are born and not made.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I think with this book that you can really start to see that leadership does not have to happen in large organizations, corporations. Leadership oftentimes start at home. If
That's
you
true.
are the head of the family, or if you're if you are the breadwinner in the family, you're already the leader. Or if when you go to school, if you are the class president, etc. Being a leader does not does not mean that you have that position in a corporation, in your work, etc. But being given little responsibilities already makes you a leader.
Yeah.
And so leadership can be developed in you.
Yeah, I think that's the premise of John Maxwell, that everybody has the capacity. If you want to, you can be a leader. You just have to
Yeah.
take time to one is to embrace leadership. If you're given the leadership role, and then study leadership, because
Yeah.
everything is really a study. In his book, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, the first one is really really interesting, and this is for everybody. It is called the Law of the Lead, LID.
LID.
The law of the lead means that no organization, and this is really important for business people. If you're leading an organization, family, it says that there's no organization, there's no group, whatever, that will grow farther than the leader. So the leader is actually the one that's stopping the organization.
Oh.
Yeah. So if you want to grow your organization, you grow as a leader.
I have a question. Does he also pepper his book with scripture, with examples of leaders from the Bible, etc.?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think there are two versions. One is more of catered to the church. So there a lot of I think all of the examples are characters from, or not characters, but people from the Bible. But he also I think this version has mix with people from history and U.S. history. Even I think leaders that's outside of the Bible. So, but I think there are a lot of he has a devotional where every single the 21 most important minutes in a leader's life. Yeah.
Most important.
He also the one who wrote the 20 work, something like that.
No, there's a 21 series by Brian Tracy.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a lot. I don't know why they're doing 21.
I think
I have his leadership Bible though. It's
Oh, yeah.
very interesting. John Maxwell Leadership Bible.
Yeah. If you notice him,
It's
he actually
based on
takes
the New King James Version.
he actually takes a lot of examples from David, the king.
yeah.
All right.
Nice.
Let me move on. Do you have any questions?
I just want to add that he actually has a TED talk about leadership, David and Goliath. That David was actually.
Malcolm Gladwell.
Malcolm Gladwell.
Oh yeah, I'm so sorry. Take.
It's
Can you cut it?
Similar though.
I'm confusing people. All right.
Maxwell and Gladwell. Very
Yeah.
close.
Maxwell,
Yeah, just
Gladwell,
kidding.
and Malcolm, and John. Anyway. Yeah.
Okay.
Forget I said
This
anything.
is the second to the last book that I'm going to talk about. This is called Making It All Work. This is the... I really want to bring the first one called Getting Things Done. I don't know if you've heard about this
Yeah, I've heard
by
about that.
David Allen.
David
It's
Allen.
one of my favorite productivity books that's out there. It's really solid foundation on productivity. Making It All Work basically is I wouldn't call it an update of getting things done, but it brings it to probably a little bit different view or a new level. So, getting things done for you guys who haven't met David Allen online. There was a time, I think early 2000 or mid 2000, 2004, 2005, something like that. That his book, Getting Things Done, became like a very popular kind of Bible for productivity. Yeah, and he's like if you type in productivity, his book would actually come up because it talks about how to handle the different input that comes your way. So imagine right now we're actually getting a lot of input. You're getting input from me, but you're also getting input from your phone. There's a lot of things to do, and he said that all these small things that are like kind of a to-do list should not be stored in your, he calls it a mental RAM. because if it's stored in your mental RAM, it actually hinders you from being more creative. So it has to be placed somewhere, like a list or on your phone, that you know for a fact that when you're stuck and you don't know what to do next, you can just go through your list and tick it.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. Like I always, it's like saying no as well. Like when you say no, you could commit to your priorities a lot more better, because if you say yes to everything and it gets into your mental RAM,
Yes.
it kind of sacrifices your productivity. I think that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
I got it from my employer, but yeah, he got that mental RAM from that, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for many of us, our to-do list is always in our head.
Yeah.
And you don't know that it's like it's consuming part of your energy, like 1 watt probably of your energy. And so imagine if you have a 1,000 to-do list, and some of them you even forget. It goes through your subconscious, and there's this nagging feeling inside of you that I know I should be doing something, but I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, true.
Right. And it takes away your productivity.
Yeah. And I
Not
think-
productivity, but creativity also.
And I think it's really important to also have a to-do list, because what's not in the list is something that are not needed. You don't need to do, right? So it whittles down what you need to do and what you do not need to do, because once you have that list, it already becomes your priority. And the things that you did not list on that list are, of course, not important for you.
Yeah, I think this would
Yeah.
work as well for the book swappers who
Yeah.
read books. You should also list your books. Like,
Yeah.
who here like have a list, reading list, like
I
a
have
book
one
list.
in Goodreads. I have one online.
Yeah.
So it's actually about the books that I already have that I'm supposed to read, but I haven't, read in a while. So
Yeah.
that stops me from buying more books
Yeah.
because
Oh,
these
yeah.
are the priority
Yes.
books.
Yeah.
The actual.
I keep online Goodreads.
Nice.
I aim 50. And that's just I think quite
Nice.
small. 50 before the year ends. So that's it.
It's nice. It's difficult to
Difficult.
grade
It's
50
difficult.
for normal human beings like me.
On average, people don't read. Like
Yeah.
after after college, it's like they've only read
3 books.
3 books,
a year.
right? On
Yeah.
average.
This was according to
There was
Yeah,
a
this was
statistics
a-
about.
On
Survey.
average, what I've heard from this guy David Brian Tracy, he said it's less than 1 book a year.
Less than one.
Yes.
Which means they don't start. I mean, they don't finish.
No, they don't really read. They just read the Facebook feed, and you compile that, it becomes less than 1 book.
Does that even qualify as
So maybe you can go over again the titles. Very
Recommended readings.
We have another segment of our show we call Recommended Readings. And I'm sure Joseph has recommended a lot of books for this podcast, but he has one book that he considers the book of the century. And this is his recommended reading for this episode.
So my recommended reading, and it's not part of the books that I brought. I should have brought them. But there are 2 books and just one author. His name is Seth Godin, and he wrote a book called Linchpin. So linchpin is basically, the idea there is that how do you become a linchpin in your organization? How do you become a linchpin in your industry? How do you become a linchpin in your family, for example? What does it mean? Linchpin is a small part in any machinery, and if you remove that part, basically everything falls down. So,
Usually it's a screw, right? If you look at it,
yes,
if you
it's a
think
screw.
about it, it's a screw.
Yeah, it's a screw. So, how do you become so important that you are indispensable? So, you have to think about that while creating your brand. So, for podcasters like us and content creators like us, general creators like us, we have to think about like who are our audience and what is our industry and how can become a linchpin, so that we become so important. Like I said in the podcast, like if Ayala, the mall will close down tomorrow, a lot of people, maybe all of Cebu will miss it. But then say if some sari-sari store will close down tomorrow, maybe just few people will miss it. So whether it really boils down to where do you position yourself in the market. The next book that I will recommend, I know but I would like to reiterate that the book called Tribes by Seth Godin also. So the tribe is really your audience, the people, and these are not just audience, but these are the people, your kind of community, as like podcasters, for example. Your community. So Book Swap has its own community of readers, and you have to first identify them and make sure that they get as much value as possible.
All right. So these books are Lynchpin and Tribes, written by Seth Godin, and I think we can get them online if they're not in local bookstores, National Bookstore, and fully booked. Right. Thank you for that.
Short Reads Live.
We are on to the Short Reads Live portion of our podcast episode. And I am reading an excerpt from the book written by Marianne Williamson. And the title of the book is A Return to Love, Reflections on the Principles of A Course in Miracles. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure about you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in every one. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. That was such an interesting conversation we've had with our very first guest for our video podcast. So we're gonna do very quickly a round of what we learned from our guest today. All right, we'll start with you, Zach.
I'm actually mind blown. You see, I thought that self-help is actually just limited to business and career. There's actually a self-help on how to get physically intimate and how to know if, your prospect will positively react to your advances. So it's a big help for
part was
clueless
this? Whose
females
part was
like
this?
me. It's like, oh, why is he leaning close to me? I get freaked out. This is rubbing elbows. That's rubbing elbows. So that's
The elbows is a milestone.
yes, it's a milestone. So if you could get past the elbow, then the hand is just a bit.
Does it naturally follow that once you're past that rubbing elbow stage, being comfortable, then naturally it would go to holding hands
And then if
It depends
Yeah.
on your...
that's
Yes,
the
babe.
expert.
It depends. I mean, if you can say intimate without like getting into a relationship, like friendly relationship. I guess
What's that? Intimate without...
He's not a fan of labels.
Okay, so to answer your question, yes, it can go there. It can also go to the back. The back. So,
Dakbay.
akbay. And then from the back, you go down or you go up. But it's and I know like we're Filipinos now, and that's the reason why you're kind of reacting this way. But if you think about it, it's really more of like caressing the nape and
like the dog.
Oh yeah, the dog. But it's really more of our language for I care for you. The
Body
body.
language,
It's not just
so-
it's not just hitting certain areas. But I'm trying to say is this that's the
Certain
You're
area.
Yeah.
already breaking personal space.
Yeah, you're breaking
already
personal space and you
allowing
can
the
go-
person to enter your personal space.
Yes,
and
you
that's
can
really
go-
fine.
it's your choice. But
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say there is you have an ability now to test if the prospect
If the prospect
is
will
interested.
yes.
So
Yes.
Joseph said something about testing the hypothesis.
Oh, okay.
See if the market needs.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So all right. So guys, prospect.
This is really.
Prospect.
Do we need one more episode? Just this?
All right. So my prospects. I'm rubbing elbows, even if I have to elbow my way to you. Watch out for me.
Yeah. Watch out for the elbow.
All right. Next is January. Okay, my favorite part, my key takeaway from Joseph's talk is really the the talk about linchpin. I love that. I love the challenge and the idea of making sure that what I invest my time, my effort, my energy, and my resources in must be indispensable to a tribe of people. I think there's this initial euphoria or excitement that most people experience when they come up with an idea. They think that the idea is the start of something, but then it has to be a little more than that. It's not just an idea, it's got to be a linchpin idea, I guess. It has to be an idea that is indispensable to a lot of people.
Yes.
Did I get that right?
Yes.
Yeah, awesome.
The other thing is, not just an idea, but how do you actually execute it in such a way that it becomes valuable to everybody?
Right, yes.
Yeah.
Next, so I'd like to add one to your linchpin. I love the thought of the Sari Sari store and Ayala closing. Ayala is a local mall, by the way, here in Cebu. So yeah, so I'd love to add that as linchpin. But one thing that really caught me was the mental RAM. So I'm always a fan of that, and it just solidifies what I've been following for quite a while. So thank you for that, Joseph.
Thank you.
Me, there were so many things that we talked about for this podcast, and I really like. I'm interested to read more of Seth Godin's work, Linchpin and Tribe. And what else can I say? You've said it all.
I know you want to
Maybe how this would probably relate to you. How this works would relate to you. But don't worry, we'll take care of your meal. We'll talk about this
Alright.
off cam.
Right.
Off cam. What's your key?
I think what's really important is also making a list. Sometimes we just forget the need of putting down our priorities and setting down your priorities. And once you have that list, you already are executing it somehow in a way because you are listing down what you need to do, what needs to be done. And most of us, we just forget easily. Like we don't mind making lists. And that's very important if you want to increase your productivity. You have to be able to zero in on one task at a time because they say multitasking is a myth. You can never multitask. So focus on one item at a time on that list and maximize your time by being productive and by being with awesome people like this tribe that I have. All right.
I'd like to add, no? Yeah. So this is amazing because to all other readers out there, I mean, I think I've heard this somewhere that the secret is out there. You just have to the wealthiest, the most brilliant minds in the world are actually not gifted. They're just librarians. They own a lot of books. And Joseph here, I would say you're a librarian. You keep a lot of books. And
Yeah,
you've
because
read
my
them.
last name is Librero.
Oh, nice.
Library.
Nice. That was funny. Okay. Okay, so I think we have a title for this episode. The librarian. But yeah, so the secret is out there. It's hidden behind the pages, the books. So I encourage you to read books. And if you have something that you could relate through this episode, please feel free to connect with us. Let us know. And yes, I hope you learned something from this.
Yes, I hope you learn, guys.
Yeah, I learned a lot. I was mind blown. I was basically listening to everyone. So I hope you all find value in what we just discussed. Because, it's really exciting. Every podcast episode, you always learn something new. And this is no different. And we hope, yeah. Yeah. But don't worry, we'll still have that meeting off cam.
Right. If you want to be a guest for the next video Podcast, please drop us a line, say hello on our Facebook page, and just invite yourself for the next podcast that we will be having.
Yes.
We will also update you on schedules of book swaps in the coming months. We have 2 in line for July and August, so watch out for that.
All right.
We asked Joseph where people could find him.
Yeah, where can we find you, Joseph?
Right.
In Cebu City Public Library. Because he is the librarian.
Joseph Librero, the librarian.
So I think the my main page now is the big picture. The big picture. So search for it in Facebook. I put my vlogs there, and Dave and I releases how many episodes in a month? Maybe 2 for the podcast, right? Right.
They also have an iTunes account already.
And they have an iTunes account. It's all. So just search for the big picture. .ph.
All right. So this is Book Swap Cebu Podcast. I'm Chappie.
My name is Zax.
I'm Jenny Wrightan.
I'm Dave. Our guest.
And I'm your guest.
Yes, Joseph, who wants to join us?
And we are signing off.
Bye.
Till next time.
You just listened to another episode of Book Swap Cebu Podcast. To know more about us, you may like or follow us on facebook.com/bookswapcebu.